Hey guys, welcome into the Golazzo America YouTube channel. Of course, I'm Tony Miola and Benny Fellhaber. As you notice, no Charlie Davies, Benny, no Jimmy Conrad. They're off doing big boy things, getting A licenses and all of that stuff this week out in Ireland. But we'll take it from here. An exclusive.
You're bringing in the subs.
Yeah, they've got the subs here, but they're not too deep on the subs bench right now. We've got an exclusive call it what you want interview coming up here. Of course, this is U.S. Open Cup week. We are down to the round of 16. Only one cup set, Benny, in the round of 32. Before we get to Pittsburgh and bringing on our next guest, just thoughts on 15 MLS teams going through.
Well, it's unusual, it's kind of what you expect, but it never really happens. And so you tend to love the cup sets and the drama that goes behind it. And, we got one USL championship team still standing, and we're all going to cheer them on because we love a cup set. And this is what the Open Cup's all about.
Yeah, you mentioned that the Pittsburgh Riverhounds beat NYC 1-0 on the penalty kick. The guy who orchestrated that goal on the corner kick, Robbie Mertz, is going to join us now. He's a native from the Pittsburgh area and a guy that I'm sure felt really good after this one. We had predicted 2 or 3 cup sets in this one. We got one, so we thought, hey, let's show the Pittsburgh Riverhounds a little bit of love here. Robbie Mertz joins us now.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
How are you, man? Good to see you. First off, we'll get to you guys are just getting back. You flew in. You told us 4 a.m. in the morning last night. We know what that life is all about. But first off, congratulations on getting through and being the only USL team to advance here. First, let's talk about that game. And is there a sense of pride with regards to sort of carrying the banner now for the USL moving forward?
Oh, yeah, I think there's always a little bit of an element of that. We want to show well for our league and what we feel like is a really high standard of football continuing to grow in the USL and the USL Championship in particular. And so, I think we definitely feel a little bit of that responsibility now. It was, like you said, it was a little bit disappointing, I guess, from our end that there weren't more cup sets this year, but we'll do our best to keep things rolling.
Yeah, well, you had a really good performance, obviously, against New York City FC at home. Now you guys got to go cross-state to Philadelphia. How does that present a different scenario for you guys going away from home and still competing against a team that is one of the top teams in MLS right now?
Yeah, for me, I guess, having been around a little while, it does harken back a little bit to 2023 and the run that we made a couple years ago. I think Revs were flying high at the time in the MLS. They might have been top of the East at that point, and we were able to go into Gillette and beat them there and then get a win at home against Columbus as well. So I think it's something that we believe we're capable of. And so we'll just kind of try to take that mentality that, we don't really have much to lose in this matchup here. So just kind of lay it all on the line and see what happens.
I want to get to that mentality here in a second. Do want to remind our viewers here that game is on Wednesday, 7:30. We've got you covered here on Paramount Plus. So Tuesday we've got 2 games. We'll have full coverage of that. Benny and I will be on the coverage with Jill Sakovits and of course Nico Cantor will join us on Wednesday where we have our Golazzo whip around style show. You guys will be part of that. That's always fun to watch. But that'll be the game we're focused on here. You touched on the mentality, right? You're going to play another MLS team. Look, Bob Lilley, your manager's been around this thing for so long. Kind of, what's the feedback? I imagine there's some type of, hey guys, let's show that we can play with these guys. Let's show that we're as good as these players are. There's got to be some element of that in his speeches.
Yeah, I think so. I think for a guy like Bob, who's been around as long as he has, there's definitely priorities. Our form in the league right now is not necessarily where we want it to be. And that's not to say that we're not prioritizing Wednesday. We know it's a big opportunity, but we've got a lot going on our end of things right now as well. But I think from the players end of things, a lot of guys within our team, within our league have been in and around MLS environments, have had opportunities, and for whatever reason, it hasn't always worked out. And that's how you find yourself, I guess, in the USL for now. And so there's always a little bit of that chip on your shoulder and something to prove when you are able to go and play against these guys, many of whom, might be your friends or former teammates or former opponents. So it's always a fun matchup to be able to play across leagues and play against a different opponent.
Yeah, and within that, Robbie, I think that you guys started the season relatively well. I think you were 2-1 before your first game in Open Cup, and then since the Open Cup, you guys have gone on a little bit of a run. Not so hot in the USL Championship league games, but I'm curious, kind of like what you were touching on. Everybody's got, I think, an individual mentality, right, or desire to get to a higher level as a professional sports player. And so, we had a short stint, both me and you had short stints at Colorado Rapids, but your desire to try to get back into MLS, and I'm sure other players on your team, how does that impact not only the way that you guys go about it individually, but how does it push the team forward when you're playing against arguably a team that's more talented than you guys, but you guys go out and perform and possibly get a result this week against Philadelphia?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot in that question, and this is like really something that you see discussed a lot about the Open Cup and these matchups that occur. I mean, I think from my perspective, obviously the MLS is the top division in the United States, and there's a lot of fantastic players there. But I also know that there's a lot of great players in the USL that, like I said, are, I think, very capable of being at that level. And for whatever reason, it hasn't quite happened for them yet, or that ship has sailed. And I would put myself in that category, by the way. I'm 28 years old. I don't think that I'm necessarily planning on ending up in the MLS any day soon. But there's definitely guys, we have a pretty young squad here. There's definitely guys who are still looking ahead to the rest of their careers and wanting to go as high as they can. And so for them, this is a massive opportunity to show themselves, to be able to hang their hat on something and say, when it mattered, when we had to show up and play against guys at that level, we were able to do it. We were able to compete and even succeed at that level. So it's important for them. And I guess from where I sit, it's just a matter of trying to help them along and on their journeys as they continue to try to push forward and make the most out of their career, because I'd love to see as many of my teammates do that as possible.
Hey, tell me a little bit about your stadium. I've watched this stadium. I haven't been at I've said time and time again, I'm going to make a trip to Pittsburgh. I'm going to watch a game at Highmark Stadium. It looks like when I think of U.S. Open Cup, actually, when I think of any cup competition, like that's a stadium I'm thinking about, like a small little venue on the water, a train going by. Like there's all kinds of different stadiums. Like tell me about that place, because you clearly, obviously, MLS stadiums. You've been to a few yourself. How does it rank up there for you with regards to atmospheres? It looked like a pretty fun atmosphere against NYC.
Yeah, definitely some good memories there over the last few years. And, being somebody that's from Pittsburgh, I remember when the stadium was built down there. I remember when there was nothing down there. So it's been cool to see things continue to grow here, for us to continue to get more and more fans and more people part of the community here. But from my perspective, Highmark is really one of the best venues in U.S. soccer. Obviously, it's not quite as big as a lot of the MLS stadiums, and there's certain nuances about it, I guess, that you would say are a little bit unique and make it, I think, fun for the neutral viewer, or the people that haven't been there before, to see a train going by and that sort of thing. But I think for us, really, when it comes down to it, it's been mostly a fortress for us in the last 5 or 6 years. And we've had a lot of success there. So we know that when we play teams there, it's a really good opportunity for us to win. We've been very confident playing at home, which again is, I guess, as you alluded to, makes Wednesday a little bit tougher because we are going on the road. But Highmark is a great place to play. I think for anyone who comes and plays there, they should enjoy the experience, because it really is a great venue.
Well, I got a couple of quick fire here, because you just said you're going to play at a different stadium. So one, you'll be comfortable with the waterfront scenario there in Philadelphia as well. Is it more likely that you kick a ball out of the stadium and hit a train, or kick one into the river?
Definitely the river. And they do have a river ball.
Have a few balls landed in there already?
They have a sponsored river ball count that goes, I think, throughout the season. So you see it get up to 18, 20 river balls by the end of the year.
I didn't know it was that close. I mean, you could see it, but I didn't realize that you could kick one out of there.
Yeah, the train is really too close. You're not going to be able to get it up and down over the net to hit the train. But the river is doable. So,
how many Robbie Mertz balls in that water? How many?
Robbie doesn't kick them there. He's got technique, man.
I did clear one, I think off like a corner kick or something with my head last year that went over. I almost celebrated it because it was a river ball. So
I got another one for you. I know you're from Pittsburgh, right? Are you a Steelers fan?
Yeah, big time.
Oh boy, I'm a Ravens fan, so we'll have to put something on it this year. And then my last question to you is, we saw that you have a brother and a sister that played soccer as well.
Yep.
You got to give me some tips because I have 3 kids. 2 are both soccer players and they compete all the time. So I need to know what the tips are in terms of getting them to compete against each other and get the best out of them.
Yeah, as many backyard games as possible. I think particularly my little sister benefited from that over the years because she was the youngest. And I think, that really helped her just like playing against her older brothers. And definitely with my brother and I as well, like kind of nurturing that competition early on. But by the end, like as we were into high school, we got really close and training together. It was more of a, helping each other along in our journeys. And it's still like that to this day. He texts me before every game that I play. And, that's a special thing to have between siblings to be able to share that experience of playing soccer at a high level.
Who's the best one in the family? Go ahead, give it to us now.
A lot of people would say my little sister. She was
the youngest one, right? The youngest one always, yeah, always the youngest one. All right, one last one before we let you go, and appreciate your time. If you had to pick one thing that needs to go right for you guys against Philly on Wednesday night, what is it?
For me, it is the mentality piece. I guess that's not too specific, but I think that. Thinking about the form that we've had in the league, again, as we discussed, I think it's been not great because maybe we're playing a little bit cautiously. We haven't been on the front foot as much, playing a little bit like we have something to lose. So from my perspective, you're not going to win games playing that way. And it doesn't matter who the opponent is. So we got to go out and feel, no intimidation and just feel like we have nothing to lose in this game. And I think if we do that, we might be able to get on the front foot at times in the game. Obviously, it's going to have to be a strong performance for us in all sides of the game, both sides of the ball. But you got to believe. And I think that was what really did it for us against New York, because I actually didn't think it was our best performance by any means in that game. But we hung around, we stayed disciplined defensively. And obviously a bit of good fortune went our way, and we were able to capitalize on our opportunity.
All right, lied to you, Bob Lilley. What's the last thing he tells you before you head out? And I love Bob Lilley's story. I love what he means for the sport. I love what he's meant now for Pittsburgh. What's the last thing he says to you guys? You've been around him a little while now. You might have that speech down to a science. Yeah,
I think it's always about compete level and intensity, and I think that if you're someone who's familiar with our team over the last 5-6 years, that's pretty consistent for the most part. Obviously, every team has their ups and downs, but we're pretty consistent on the compete level, and that's a non-negotiable here.
Figured as much from Bob Lilley. Again, you guys will be part of our Golazzo Show coverage beginning at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday. We'll have a whip-around show. Benny and I will be there with Nico Contour, Jill Sakovits. Robbie, appreciate the time, man. Good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
Robbie, thanks a lot. And look, no pressure. We all want a cup set, and you guys are our last hope, so no pressure, all right?
All right. Thanks.
There you have it. Robbie Mertz, Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Again, they take on the Philadelphia Union in Philly on Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Tune into the Golazzo Show. We'll have you all covered the entire night. Thanks so much.